Oh, it's almost confirmation hearing season. I can smell it. And we're here on the MeidasTouch Network, and we're here for it and ready to cover it all. And now we've got some new reporting that the only person, William Webster, to ever be the head of both the CIA and the FBI, appointed by Democrats and Republicans, who's 100 years old, has come out with a new letter addressed to the senators who are responsible for confirming Kash Patel as the head of the FBI and Tulsi Gabbard as the director of national intelligence, saying they're both supremely unqualified. They put our lives at risk and they should be rejected. And William Webster speaks from his perch as being one of the lions of our democracy, somebody who is well respected by both parties. People need to listen. I listened, and I'm here to talk about it on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. Let's talk about Bill Webster. Who is he? For those that haven't heard from him in a while, he was appointed by Jimmy Carter in 1978 to be the head of the FBI. Jimmy Carter, of course, still here as well, kicking at 100 years old, and also later appointed by Reagan to be the head of the Central Intelligence Agency, a position he held even under President Bush. So that William Webster, again, the only person in American history to ever serve as both the CIA director and, or first the FBI director and then the CIA director. Never happened before. And here's what he says in his letter that was written, just so you know where I'm coming from, about Patel and Gabbard. He says, both of them do not possess the attributes of nonpartisan leadership and experience that are critical to their positions. This is a quote from Webster's letter. The safety of the American people and your own families depends on it, he wrote, emphasizing the importance of these Senate confirmation hearings. While Mr. Patel's intelligence and patriotism are commendable, Webster wrote, his record of executing the president's directive suggests a loyalty to individuals rather than the rule of law, a dangerous precedent for an agency tasked with impartial enforcement of justice. Unfortunately, one of the things that's going to come up during the confirmation hearing, just as a side note, is that Donald Trump didn't run on a platform that he wanted an impartial enforcement of justice. For those that are just waking up late after voting for him, Donald Trump wants to weaponize the Department of Justice and the FBI to go after his political enemies. They want to have a unitary presidency that in which the Article 2 president is in control of the Department of Justice and the FBI, destroying all semblance of any independence or impartiality by those two branches. That's it. That's how he's going to run things. So I think Webster's already going to run into a little bit of headwinds with some of these MAGA senators because they don't see the impartiality of the enforcement of justice as a good thing at all. He also went on to say as to Tulsi Gabbard, who has been rumored for years to be somebody who's been groomed as a Russian asset, that she lacks, this is his quote from Bill Webster, Gabbard's profound lack of intelligence experience and the daunting task of overseeing 18 disparate intelligence agencies that would all be under her domain further highlight the need for seasoned leadership that she lacks. Effective management of our intelligence community requires, Webster continues, unparalleled expertise to navigate the complexities of global threats and to maintain the trust of allied nations. Without that trust, our ability to safeguard sensitive secrets and collaborate internationally is severely diminished. I mean, I've done a whole hot take on Tulsi Gabbard and why our allies, where we share intelligence with like the Five Eyes that are joined together as allies to conduct intelligence operations together and surveillance, are going to be less likely to provide the American side with information if they believe, which they do, that Tulsi Gabbard can't be trusted. I mean, this is somebody who, went to Syria and came away extolling the virtues of Assad. This is the dictator that just fell and now lives in Moscow. Okay. And so when she left, she said, no, he's not an enemy of America, despite his use of chemical weapons against his own people, his threats to the Middle East and our allies there. No, he's not a threat to the American people. She was like talking up Assad like she was reading from some Kremlin talking points. This is the person Donald Trump has decided to troll America and his allies with by making her the head of national intelligence. Now, thank God the person that Donald Trump has picked or nominated to be the head of the CIA, John Ratliff, is qualified in the intelligence community, but there's 17 other agencies that are all going to report to her as a clearinghouse for intelligence. And Bill Webster, again, the only person to ever have been FBI and CIA director, says she's not qualified. And that I have to agree with. Because who's more qualified to critique her credentials than Bill Webster? Who? No one.
Did you know that 4 companies control over 80% of the U.S. meat industry, and China now controls the largest portion of U.S. pork? These companies use mobster-like tactics to crush American family farms, and they put all sorts of additives into our food, and Americans are stuck with this sketchy meat option. So what can we do about it? Let me tell you about a company that's sponsoring Mistrial, which we absolutely love. They're called Moink, and they have come up swinging on behalf of American family farms. So the business is simple. Moink's meat comes from animals raised outdoors, where a pig is free to be a pig, and their farmers are given an honest day's pay for an honest day's work, and they deliver meat straight to your doorstep at prices you can actually afford. Born, raised, and harvested right here in the United States of America. Support American family farms and join the Moink movement today at moinkbox.com/mistrial right now, and you can get free wings for life. That's kind of amazing. They're the best wings you'll ever taste for free, but for a limited time. Spelled MOINK box.com/mistrial, MISS, 2 S's trial. That's moinkbox.com/mistrial. And absolutely support this amazing sponsor. We love them.
Now, what's going to happen here? I mean, Webster was already part of 100 national security foreign policy officials and national security leaders who had joined in a letter together to support Kamala Harris against Donald Trump, mainly because of the assault on the rule of law that Donald Trump's going to take. Now, letters are great. Okay, I love letters, but I love letters too. But what's going to happen next? You need to be here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF, because we're going to be covering those confirmation hearings morning, noon, and night. We're gonna, if they're televised, which they're going to be, we're going to put them up on the network. We're going to do commentary before, during, and after. I'm going to be doing commentary on Popok Live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday nights here. That's going to be must-see TV. Why? Because we're going to be watching the autopsy of our democracy. We're going to be watching how the founding fathers and framers of our Constitution envisioned the checks and balance of senators in their process of consulting with the president, of making the final decision about up or down whether a nominee is going to become an actual head of that department. We're going to watch that in living color. And we as an American people, and we as educated consumers here on MeidasTouch and on Legal AF, we need to sound the clarion call our senators, tell them how we feel, pay them back at election times and midterm elections for how they operate and how they comport themselves during this confirmation process. Bill Webster's not the first person to say that Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel are unqualified for the positions for which they've been nominated. If they were applying for these jobs and had to be interviewed, they wouldn't get past the resume submission. Nobody would pick them to be in the top 3 candidates to be interviewed for any of these jobs. They're not qualified. But Donald Trump is trolling America, and it is dangerous. As Bill Webster has pointed out, it undermines our national security. It puts Americans in harm's way because he's putting amateurs and amateur hours in charge of these positions. It's like putting an unqualified, untrained pilot behind the controls of a fighter jet. Bad things are going to happen and happen quickly. And that's what people like Bill Webster are calling out here. Now, what can you do about it? I never like to leave hot takes with just sort of the gloom and doom of a Grim Reaper hot take, like, oh no. I am not convinced that Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr. and the rest are going to get through the confirmation process, or Pete Hegseth. There's been this like quiescence period where, because of the holidays and other things, where, you see articles written by trolls and others that are trying to create an outcome of their liking that, Kash Patel's got the votes all wrapped up. Pete Hegseth's gotten over the hump with Joni Ernst, and he's going to get that position. I'm not so sure about that because the Democrats haven't been heard from. And the Democrats in the Senate, these various committees, although in the minority position, are going to have a tremendous role to play in this confirmation process, in the live vivisection. I mean, I want them, for these people, to rip out their hearts and show it to them during the confirmation process. I just do. And then the American people can judge if these people are qualified or not. And if there's skeletons in their closet, then have them come out. I mean, the problem is what FBI vetting is really going on right now at the end of the Biden administration. Now, finally, we reported a couple of weeks ago that the Trump administration, having had egg on their face a couple of times, asked for FBI background checks of their remaining candidates for nominees. So that's going on. And that data will be delivered to the Senate, the senators who are responsible in the confirmation process. Each committee responsible for the person that would take over a cabinet to which that committee would ultimately have jurisdiction. The Attorney General would be the Judiciary Committee, Armed Services Committee for people in the Pentagon, and so on. The Health and Science Committee and all that. So we're going to continue to follow. I just think it's worth pointing out and not letting it be, in the tomorrow's news, the bottom of the birdcage, when somebody like Bill Webster says that Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard are supremely unqualified, so much so that they put America at risk. I want to talk about it right here on the MeidasTouch Network. And on Legal AF, I got a new show, Popok Live, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the MeidasTouch Network. I take questions. I give answers. I do commentary and analysis the only way I know how. Without blowing smoke or sunshine, nobody tells me what to say. There's no editorial viewpoint that gets shoved down my throat. This is completely independent media. And now we need that more than ever. Take a minute, hit the subscribe button for the MeidasTouch Network. Come on over to see me on Legal AF, the YouTube channel, which I curate at the intersection of law and politics. We got a big blue button for subscribe there as well. We need your help to get to our 500,000 goal by our 6-month birthday. So until my next hot take here on the MeidasTouch Network, I'm Michael Popok reporting. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.